where learning to ask the right questions can help you achieve lifelong success. Now, here to help you ask all the right questions is award-winning author, international speaker, and business strategist, Laura Steward.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone, and welcome to the show. So excited to be with you here all today. Anybody that's watching and streaming live with us, with video, or those listening to the podcast, it's such a joy to be back. And this is show number 2 of the reboot of season 8. I can't believe that I've been doing this show for 8 years. I did have an 11-month gap. For those of you who are big fans, you probably noticed that there was an 11-month gap. I had long COVID and a few other illnesses that I just couldn't even follow basic thoughts. So for those of you who know me, you know that my thoughts are everything. And when I lost the ability to string together and follow a conversation, I just decided what I needed to do for me was focus on my self-care, because as one of the primary principles of my book, What Would a Wise Woman Do? Questions to Ask Along the Way says, is you have to take care of yourself first. So I did focus on that for a long time. Relaunched the show with John David Mann in July as he launched Blind Fear, his latest nonfiction book with Brandon Webb. And now today I get to bring you another dear friend of mine who I've known, and we'll try to figure this out at some point during this episode. I've had her on the show before, but a dear friend who I've known for a really long time. And she's launching her new book today called Step Into Happy: Simple Steps from A to Z for Loving Your Life. It is a wonderful book that reminds us of some simple steps we can take that have great power to change and transform your life. Now, Marian Edvardsen is on the show today, and she is an empowerment and mindset coach. She is a certified passion test facilitator. Most of all, she is somebody who truly believes in stepping into your happy, whatever that may be. And we're going to talk about how she loves and is most passionate about empowering others. And I love this: to dare to dream, reach for the stars, and live the life they love. So, Marian, welcome to the show, my dear friend.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Oh, it's so great to be here and with you and to talk about what has been truly a passion project for you. I mean, I think the first time you and I talked about this book and I looked at a draft of it, how many years ago?
Maybe 10.
Yeah. And what I love about it is you did choose to release it as you grew. You know, like so many of the primary principles in here, I've watched you live for the number of years it took you to launch this book, not to mention raising twin boys and going through so many different incarnations in your life. This book launches today. It's already in the top 500 books on Amazon in several categories, which says it's a testament to you and the work that you're doing, and the fact that I think the world really needs to step into happy. I know I do. These last 11 months, actually 5 years of illness for me, you've been, and my mom passing, you've helped me to find happy. It might only be a glimpse here or there, but you've helped me do that. So why is this so important to you, that people learn some simple steps to step into their own happy?
Basically, because the world needs more happy. And I don't try to gloss over the negative. There's so much difficulty. And I mentioned this in the book, that a lot of the emotion that comes through people's minds off the bat are, sadness, loss. We've all seen that through COVID, struggle. All those words are important. We need to honor those feelings. But we also, there's a lot of neuroscience. There's a lot of, I love listening to Mel Robbins. I love her 5 second, we just count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. we have negative thoughts that go through our minds on a minute to minute basis. And we can fall into those, or we can step out of those. And we forget to step out of those. And we're born to have a joyous life. We're born to be happy. We're born to live the life that we want and that we desire and we deserve. And so it was time for the simple reminders to come out. You talked about self-care, and sometimes, and I quoted you in the book, some women course correct. And we're allowed to course correct, and it's very important to course correct, because otherwise we have that cup half full, that we can't take care of ourselves, much less take care of all the people who we love and we want to be with, and just love life with.
Right. Yeah, that is important to remember that. I mean, you've course corrected how many times in your life? One of the things that when I was reading through the book and you were talking about, I don't remember which letter it was or whether it was the intro you wrote. I mean, you were in the financial world for ages, at top levels. And you were like, I'm done with that. I need to do something different. And then you live in Connecticut. A major thing happened in Connecticut, and you knew you needed to make a difference. Can you talk about that and how that major course correction for you, beyond having twin boys, which to me it was like, oh boy, Marian's really just changed course. But that, I feel like, opened you to all these other possibilities of a world that looked very different for you. But what was that moment with Sandy Hook and becoming an EFT practitioner, based on what you talked about in your book? What were you going through your mind? What questions were you asking yourself that put you on this path?
How can I help was the first thing. I live 40 minutes away. It's not like, and the statement was, it could have been my school, it could have been my kids. And I didn't know what I was going to do. In my life, again, I'm all about positivity, and there's that yin and yang, right? That infinity circle that we look at all the time. And so I just asked the question, what can I do to help? And I had been doing some EFT at the time and reading some of Nick Ortner's books. And he did a blog the next day and he said, I live in Newtown, and what can I do? And he ended up calling up Lori Layden, who had done some significant work with orphan genocide survivors in Rwanda back in the 1990s. And she flew to Newtown the next day, and she stayed for 3 years. And Nick reached out to his local community, and obviously a lot of licensed professionals applied or sent in a request. And I did too. And I didn't know what I could do to help, but I know that anyone, as Nick said, anyone who has a heartbeat was affected by this. And, my boys were, around 9 at the time. So I was invited to be part of this founding group, which was to learn EFT, to create a new model for stress and trauma relief healing in the world. And our message was really about self-care. If we don't take care of our own traumas, which for many people, we have traumas that go back to childhood. And if we don't, it is all about self-care. If we don't take care of ourselves first, how are we equipped to take care of when something big happens?
That's a really good point.
And it really answered that, as I was building my coaching practice, and it was not building that great because I was used to 32 years in financial services and just getting a paycheck, which was, nice and easy. I mean, the work was, not easy, but,
But
how
you were familiar with it. You knew how it worked. You knew the ins and outs.
right, but how do you help with people's limiting beliefs and um, being discretionary with their money and know that they need a mentor to move them beyond their own obstacles and their own limiting beliefs and what's stopping them from living the life that they love. And I found out that EFT and at the same time, essential oils became an important part of that, because another colleague was part of the same, or now colleague, part of that same founding group, and learned about the emotional benefits of essential oils, and the combination of the two just on a physiological basis can calm you, can make you feel more grounded and more present so that you can do everyday things instead of falling into stuckness.
And it's interesting that you said just that, just as Missy Hatfield, who's listening, watching on LinkedIn Live, commented, "Hi, Laura," because very much like you, she's steps into happy quite a bit. And I'm hoping that the two of you will become friends if you're not already friends online after this. And you talked about the essential oils. And the other day, I was snorting, smelling, not really snorting because I didn't ingest it, but I had the doTERRA lemon oil open that you had suggested I get one day. And it's interesting to me that because I have such a crazy smeller since the ear injury, I sort of, oh, and Missy just said, "Yes, I do." She's all excited about that because she really does do that. The moment I smelled the lemon, I felt a lift in my body and I felt tension leave my body. And if anybody is not familiar with what EFT is, it's tapping. That's the more common name for it. Emotional freedom technique, correct, Marian?
Yes.
Is what it stands for. And maybe you've seen people, like tap in their head. And this is not one of the, can you tap your head and, circle your other hand on your stomach at the same time. It actually does release work. So once you started on this path, Marian, what changed for you and how did you begin changing what you were asking yourself or asking other people?
I would see people stuck, people wanting to learn more, people wanting to find tools for easy self-care. And I felt that I needed to offer that to more people. And I knew these tools, and when you know something like this, you can't keep it to yourself.
Right.
And similar to 26 letters of the alphabet, after I left corporate, how I can't even quite remember how this whole book kind of downloaded, and I put it on paper, and it was all the lessons that I had learned from so many years of learning lessons. And as a strategist on Wall Street, and if you're at all familiar with Clifton Strengths Finders, which is an assessment tool, strategic is one of my top strengths. And what I am good at is kind of boiling down all the information that's out there into more simplified terms. Maybe that's comes from being a kindergarten teacher coming out of college. It just fits, and it's an easy way, a simple way to give people simple steps to move forward in their lives, or just to have a better day. Just take it a moment at a time.
There are 4 in the book that I keep kind of coming back to for myself for whatever reason. And over the years, as we've gone through the book and you refined it and then finally said, okay, I'm doing it. I'm launching this book and a planner and a journal. And by the way, everybody, in the back of the book, there's pages as well where you can write notes, and then you can also get the journal. All books are available on Amazon right now, hardcover, paperback, journal, planner. My 4 that right now keep popping up for me are Believe, Have Fun, Open to Opportunities, and Quiet the Doubt.
And I didn't ask you these ahead of time, so I would be prepared with an answer. So,
So what keeps coming up for me, Believe, Have Fun, Open to Opportunities, Quiet the Doubt. Remember, everybody, it's an A to Z guide. So Believe is obviously B, Have Fun, Open to Opportunities. If I lump them all together as to why they're hitting for me, and I look at a greater picture of that, what would you say might be like a thematic over the fact that those 4 things for me are popping up more than, say, the gratitude or connect, or I like this one, get quiet, get going, give. That's another really nice one in there. Well, they're all really good. But have you seen that with people over your work over the course of years? Is like themes they enter into at different parts of their life?
well, sometimes I take people's names, like Laura is love, L is love, and you're all about love, just through your podcast and just promoting so many authors with their books and what message that brings to the world. A is always say thankful. Gratitude for you has always been a big one. And when you go through difficulties, to just see the thankfulness in what it's teaching you sometimes. And, not that when you're feeling bad, that's not where you want to be, but, there's always lessons in that. And you're all about the lessons and the questions. You is just uncover your passions, so you found out what you love to do, and you've made your own course corrections throughout your life, and you landed in Florida and ended up on big technology stages, and then ended up on big author podcast stages, as you shifted. R is reach for the stars. You don't want to live a mediocre life, and then A, when you have a double letter in your name, that's powerful. That's because you're all about gratitude. So sometimes I do that. But, when a chapter resonates with you, like Believe, when you believe in yourself, and you've been one to believe in yourself because you asked the right questions. You became a best-selling author based on that, and so that belief is strong for you. And when your belief is strong, then you open, and, open is a verb because every chapter is an action. So you open to opportunities that appear for you, and you go for them. Sometimes we miss opportunities because we're not present enough to listen that this is an opportunity, right? Oh, and I skipped over the H. And have fun. Your friends in Connecticut encouraged you to go to Florida because you weren't happy here, right? And so it was time to go to where you love the sun, you love Florida, you loved being near your parents. So and then things that you've done along the way is just, we all want to have more fun in life. That's a basic rule. And then the last one is quiet the doubt, because it's easy for doubts to come up, right? And again, for you, when you feel a doubt or something you come up against, you ask a question, and that allows you to look at that doubt and to think about it a different way or reframe it, and then you move forward. So that's how I would use those chapters. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And it was good because it explained to people some of the things that they'll discover inside the book when, and Missy's got quiet the doubt. So obviously, Missy, you're having some doubt things as well going on. And I think these are important to recognize. Oh, Missy just said doubt is very loud. That everybody can have doubts, forget how to have fun, may stop believing for a moment. And I know that's a song, Don't Stop Believing, but people go in and out of these kind of things or have their doubts. And I think that's what's so powerful, Marian, reading it, is the reminder. Now, the have fun. When we were going back through this not long ago and I was rereading it in prep for the show again, I was trying to think, how do I have fun? And it got very subliminally in me. And the other day, I burst out laughing. I was sitting on the couch. I was working on, I had a deliverable for a client. And those of you who know I'm a big Star Wars, Star Trek geek will know that my text tone is R2D2. The ringtone is Cantina song, but the text tone is R2D2. Right? Except for certain people where I have very special songs for them. Well, I had gotten up, I came back and I sat down, and apparently the show on TV changed that I had running in the background while I was working on something. And I heard R2D2. And I'm looking at my phone going, well, it's not lighting up. What's wrong with my phone? And I keep looking at my phone every time I hear R2D2. And I'm like, what is wrong with my phone? And then I glanced at the screen. Star Wars was on, and it was C-3PO and R2D2 talking. So it wasn't my phone. In real life, on the TV was R2D2. I almost fell off the couch. I was crying and laughing so hard because that was a moment of fun. Fun doesn't have to look like jumping rope or playing. It could be something as simple as laughing, right? But I never thought of it being possible like that until I remembered reading what you wrote about have fun in your book. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Fun became work. Trying to figure out ways to have fun became work, but you made it simpler.
And where was R2D2 coming from? You know, it wasn't
TV because R2,
place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it can be a song, your favorite song. If you need to have more fun, if I'm just not getting that dishwasher emptied, you know, a lot of my posts now on Instagram, you know, I pull up Michael Bublé. I just love his song, It's a Beautiful Day. And that just gets me dancing. And how you can have more fun emptying the dishwasher is like, it can happen.
So those are some ways that you have fun, find ways to have fun. What about some ways, since it's up for Missy, that you quiet your doubts?
I turn to tapping sometimes. You know, and you and I have done that just spontaneously over the phone. And Missy, you can connect with me and we can do some tapping together. And something as simple as saying, even though I am doubting whatever you're doing right now, I accept where I am and I'm open to just looking at what I'm doubting and why. And just to sit with that. And
with that, my phone slid down. So obviously that is something very prophetic that you need to redo again, because my phone was like, ooh, I like that. I want to pay more attention. Sorry, go ahead. Continue that thought. Because Missy said thank you.
Yeah,
so how would somebody go about tapping that thought if they're having doubts?
Well, you start with that point on the side of your hand. Often it's called the karate chop point. Even though I'm feeling this doubt, I'm doubting what I'm doing right now. I don't enjoy, you know, and again, the beauty of tapping is you use your own words and there's no judgment because that's where you are right now. So we're trying to get to where we are right now and just acknowledge that. And then we can change that thought. So even though I'm feeling this doubt right now. As we use this as a self-care tool, the other side of that, we use the words, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And you say that 3 times, even though I'm doubting what I'm doing right now, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And even though I feel this doubt, it is what it is right now, I accept that and love myself anyway. And then the points really quickly, top of the head, just keep repeating the word, this doubt, and then your eyebrow point, this doubt that I'm feeling. Inside of the eye, I'm ready to release this doubt, but it's just where I am right now. And under the eye, this doubt. And under the nose, this doubt. And then your chin point, I feel this doubt, and this is the place I'm in right now, and I'm open to finding out why and releasing that. And then your collarbone points, right in the soft area below your collarbone. I'm ready to let go of this doubt now. And then under the arm, kind of like your monkey, you can do both sides or one side.
So you can have fun while you're doing this. Pretend you're a monkey.
The bra line. I'm ready to release this doubt. And then you can do on the top of your hand, that's the gamut point. I'm ready to release this now. And then take a deep breath. Couple deep breaths. And just notice what you notice. And when we started, we want to give it an intensity level. Like when you think about this doubt, like on a scale of 1 to 10, so say it was strong at an 8 or a 9. So just notice that where you feel it in your body. I didn't do that before we started because Laura got me right into it.
You never know where we're going to go, folks.
That's right. But now how do you feel? Where were you feeling that, that doubt or that anxiety in your body? And where is it now? And
go ahead.
And if you need to do a few more rounds, the idea is that we collapse that, that doubt, and try to take the intensity out of it. And physiologically, when you do tapping, it puts that in a place in your brain so that you can think about it in a less, stressful feeling.
Missy commented that she had a sigh and felt a small lifting of weight. And that was just in a minute or so on a live stream. For those of you who are listening to this on the podcast, you may want to go up to my YouTube channel or on LinkedIn Live or Facebook. All of them are The Laura Steward. Facebook, it's I Am Laura Steward. And you can watch the video so you can actually see Marian taking you through the points of the tapping. But I felt a lifting and an ease. And I felt like I dropped down about 20 notches. And I didn't even realize how tight I was until we went through just with that tapping. And I wasn't even saying the words. I was just letting your words wash over me. Missy, I'm so glad that you were here and you commented so that Marian could help you. And I have her website up there, stepintohappy.com, in case somebody wants to reach out to Marian for some assistance and coaching as well. So Marian, when you look at the work that you were doing, just that you did just right now, right, with taking somebody through tapping, what's it like for you taking somebody through an issue that they might be going on? I know that it's your passion, right, is to help others. One of the things you said when you were starting all this is, how can I help?
Right.
How can I help you? So how does this help you?
there are borrowing benefits, because when you're doing tapping, there are benefits to the giver as well as the receiver. So when you're helping someone else, you're always helping yourself. There's a quote about that in my book too. There's, I forget what it is. Oh, I could find it real quickly, but that you can't help but.
Well, Bob Berg, author of The Go-Giver, he always told me, because one of the rules of the laws in The Go-Giver is about receiving, but it's also about giving. And I never, I always had a hard time. He says, Laura, put out your hands like you're giving somebody. And for those not seeing video, my hands are out and open so somebody could take something for me. He said, you do realize now that your hands are open, it's ready for you to receive.
Right.
And typically when you would bring your hands back, you curl them back up. So as you're giving, you're receiving because your hands are now open to do it. So I don't know if you found the quote yet, but that's what reminded me of that.
Well, it's in the give chapter, because ultimately your highest energy is when you give to others, for all of us. And that's when we feel most fulfilled, is when we're giving to others. And I love quoting Ralph Waldo Emerson. So in the give chapter, you'll notice there's no page numbers in my book, because we go by the letters.
Okay.
So Ralph Waldo Emerson says, one of the beautiful compensations in life is that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself.
That's beautiful. That's truly a beautiful quote. And have you thought about, as an extra perhaps to the book up on the website, having a tapping meditation for each chapter, for each letter?
I've actually done that.
Okay. That's in your podcast, right?
It's not in my podcast. It was, I went through that years ago, and then I left them on Facebook Live. So I never put them like in a YouTube chapter. That was in my early days of not being a master of technology. So
Okay.
I would have to recreate them all. But, also
Missy thinks you must, because she said love it. So maybe you can hold a group course, taking people through. I'm just throwing stuff out here, Marian, not that you have to do these things, but based on how good I felt and Missy felt and whoever else is watching live that did it, maybe hold a group course to take people through this each day, 26 days, right?
Yep.
Of tapping through, really short things. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, I used to do Tapping Tuesdays. I might have to start that up again.
Okay.
And then do it in a YouTube channel, so they're really saved this time.
Right.
But also Nick Ortner has, just for kind of a quick go-to, in the meantime, the tapping solution. If you go to, there's an app, and every possible topic he has covered and does tapping on also. So, and you can just Google, how do I tap on, there's another wonderful man, Brad Yates, who also does some wonderful tapping. So if you just Google, how do I tap on sadness, or how do I tap on doubt, there's lots of resources. And what's beautiful is, you don't have to go any place to do this. You can just sit there and do it by yourself.
Right. Yeah. I think you're excellent at it, though. So I'd love to see you do that.
Well, thank you. And I will add that to my courses that I want.
Yeah. And you already have the doubt one done. You could just snip it out of here and post it up there, right? All right. I've taken you all over the place here right now with the tapping and with some other things and the questions in your own journey. This is a question I ask some people. I don't ask everybody, but So far from the show, we've touched on a lot of different things. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
I don't know. This work is just about keeping it simple and taking care of ourselves. What question could you ask me?
Okay.
I don't have a good answer for that.
And that's an answer. That's fine. Hey, anybody who's watching live, if you have any questions, just type it in the chat on whatever channel you're watching on, and I can ask Marian that question if you want. And if not, that is more than fine. What's next, Marian? You're launching this book today. When we started the show, it was already, I don't know, 410 in several categories for the paperback, and you've got the journal, which I love the idea of journals because it helps you reflect daily on what's going on, and your planner looks beautiful in the PDF version of it. I don't have a physical copy of the planner yet, but I will pick up one. And the book itself is just very beautifully done. I'll move it up onto the camera a little bit better so people can see the colors, and you can see different things that I've tabbed out there, everybody. There is at the beginning of the book a table of contents with all the different options in it. At the back, there are journal pages for each one. And then there's also, you have some great resources in here for different books that have been favorites of yours or recommended readings. I know that reading is a big thing for you, and the beach is a big thing for you. What is it about both of those that lifts you up, takes you inward, helps you help yourself?
Well, I always want to improve, and I always want to learn. And so I've always been drawn to personal development books. Even when I was sitting in a manager's meeting and they brought in a woman who actually I dedicated the book to, Eileen McDarr, who's this feisty little Scottish lady who wrote a book, Gifts from the Mountains. So again, some very simple reflections. But even in the financial services, you still want to improve, your growth, personal growth. I remember my kid's middle school principal saying personal growth is top on the list. And going back to belief, a lot of times, look at COVID and just broken families. And, there are a lot of people who didn't or don't believe in themselves. They didn't have a good role model. And I would always keep searching out, if I liked a person, who was their role model and who was their role model. And because I want to keep bettering myself and I want to, uplift the world and improve the world. And so reading is going to be a great way to do that. Being in a mastermind, I'm in a mastermind group right now of people who are doing similar work. And that's a powerful, it's just a powerful thing to be part of a mastermind or to find a mentor, because when you can believe in yourself more, you can accomplish more. And which is part of why I want this work to get out there, because I want collectively to have people realize that their internal star, I've always been about the stars. They're beautiful wisdom. And, when we realize how powerful our internal star is within ourselves, we can accomplish great things. And then we can quiet the doubt, right?
Right.
And move forward into really realizing what a beautiful, unique individual we are, and to to then pass that on to inspire more people. And it's just this collective, this ripple effect that's the movement that I want to start. So, it's about reading. It's about putting yourself into your favorite places. I love going to the beach, and I get comments from people who just say, I love your beach pictures. So maybe on some level, they're looking for their own calm, and that helps them in some way.
That's beautiful. Now, how do people get in touch with you? Where can they buy your book? And how can they reach out?
Stepintohappy.com. So it has the link to this book on Amazon, which is available today at a 50% discount. Because I just want to get this work out there. And so through that website, you can get in touch with me. You can link with me on Facebook, on Instagram, and reach out. And I love connecting. It's one of my favorite things, is connecting with people, helping people, and and helping you get your message out into the world. That's what I love to do.
I love that. I love that. So everybody, you can get in touch with Marian through her website, which is stepintohappy.com. For those watching on video, I have it down at the bottom of the screen, stepintohappy.com. And you can communicate at, I think all of your social media is Marian Edvardsen, right? That's your handle on most of them?
Yes. And on Instagram, it is Step Into Happy, but you.
Okay, perfect. And they can get your book, planner, and journal on Amazon, and those links again are on Step Into Happy.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I have the book up. Then once you go to Amazon, you can look for the planner and the journal, but I'm going to put all three links up there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And hopefully everybody will have all of these little Post-it dangles sticking out there of things they want to remind themselves about right now. I know 4 of these are things that are popping up for me, which is step B for believe, have fun, open to opportunities, and quiet the doubt. But after a little tapping session, quiet the doubt feels like really not very high anymore for me. So,
hey.
And Missy just commented, thank you, Marian. She's up on LinkedIn doing that. She's a good friend of mine who lives here in Vero Beach, not far from me. So,
good.
Well, and I was trying to think, I think you and I have known each other for 25 plus years, maybe more.
I would say
30 years.
I would say late 80s.
Okay.
So yeah. That's over 30 years.
Yeah, a long time. I remember having a pager on when your boys were about to be born in case you needed somebody to come get you really quickly because George, your husband, was working further away. So it's definitely dating because pagers aren't around anymore. Well, Marian, thank you so much for being on the show today and for publishing your heart project, something that is very much your heart and who you are. Step Into Happy.
Thank you, Laura. This was great spending time with you.
Yeah, ditto. Always a pleasure. Everybody remember stepintohappy.com. Marian Edvardsen wrote this wonderful book. She's a dear friend, and I just know you'll enjoy it and hopefully get something out of it. Post on social media, share a book, and shameless plug, I would love to help Marian get to be a bestseller today, if at all possible. The book is 50% off, but most of all, I hope that during the show today, when Marian went into an impromptu tapping session on quieting the doubt, that if it helped you, comment and let us know how it helped you, because maybe it can help somebody else. Have a great day, everyone. And remember, the right questions can change your life.
You've been listening to It's All About the Questions, starring Laura Steward. Connect with Laura at it'sallaboutthequestions.com and download a free workbook that will help you ask better questions starting today.